Hey everyone, I'm Rachel Senegal. Welcome to our interview series Behind the Byline, where we get a glimpse behind the curtain at the fantastic writers who contribute to our team. Joining me today is Lamb Jefferson. Welcome, Caitlin. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you.
Let's kick things off. I'll start very easy, some general questions. What got you into the world of content marketing?
Yeah, so I went to college for journalism, and when I got out, I decided to go to grad school, thinking maybe I would teach journalism, maybe I'd go work at a magazine. While I was in grad school, I wanted to make a little extra money, so I sort of started looking into content marketing, and I immediately loved it. I liked that it was faster paced than journalism. I got to write about different topics on a weekly basis. So when I graduated, I just went into it full time.
That's awesome. Where did you start out when you first graduated?
So I had a lot of different clients. I sort of had a lot of small one-off projects when I first started. I would write, a couple of articles or a couple of web pages, and then I started landing more long-term clients, especially in the tourism and real estate industries, and then just went from there.
What tools and techniques do you use to conduct research and gather insights about the topic you're writing about? Because it seems like you write about a little bit of everything.
I do. Yeah, there are so many tools out there, and I think it's gotten so much easier in recent years to research, for SEO or keywords, but I still do the same thing that I did when I got started. I like to start with a Google search. I think about what is the consumer going to look for if they're looking for my topic, whether it's a business as a consumer or, an individual. So I start with whether that's just on a Google search or even social media, kind of looking for what are they going to find if they look for this topic? So I research competitors and what else is out there, and then I go from there.
How do you stay updated with the latest trends and developments? It sounds like you use Google. Is there anything else that you use to really kind of keep you in the know for all the industries that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. Social media is a huge one. Just finding sort of leaders in the industry and following them, especially on LinkedIn. But in recent years, Facebook and Instagram, so many people are posting things, so many pages are posting things. So I do a lot of that.
Is there anything you do to adapt your communication style when working with different customers or industries?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something that when people are new in content marketing that they sort of overlook how specific and nuanced each individual like business's voice and tone is. So I like to get as much content from them as possible. So I go through their website, I go through their blogs, press releases, but also, their social media, what they're posting, if they're posting videos to YouTube. And I try to get a sense for everything. How do they talk to people in each different situation? Is it different if they're posting on Facebook? Is it different if they're posting a blog? And I like to get really familiar with what they sound like.
Is there a specific industry that you are passionate about writing for?
So my favorite is definitely travel and tourism. I like to travel on my own. I like to go camping. I like to, go all over the place. So anytime that I get to write for hotels or tour companies or anything like that, that's definitely my favorite kind of content.
Well, when writing for yourself, what draws you to a specific topic? Do you try to keep it in that travel realm since that's where your passion lies, or takes you and be like, this is where I need to go and this is what I want to
Yeah, so definitely, I definitely love writing for myself,
do?
anything travel related. I really love to do research. So, especially in the travel industry, if I find a new location that I want to know more about, I like to really dive into that research and learn about somewhere new and add somewhere else to my bucket list.
Do you have any article you wrote that resonated with an audience in a way that you didn't expect?
I do. I have one that was really surprising to me. A few years ago, I wrote an article for a hotel out of Utah, and it was just an SEO article. It was going to go on their website. It was something, to have some links in, but it was about rock cairns in the national parks. And I wrote it, I researched it, posted it on their website, didn't think anything of it. And then within a couple months, I noticed that like news sites were referencing it. It was getting all of these backlinks, and it definitely was sort of an eye opener. I was grateful that I had put really good work into this really small article, but it definitely showed me that you have no idea where a piece of content is going to go. You might think that it's, very small and only a couple of people are going to read it, and then it ends up being hugely popular.
That's amazing. In our pre-interview questionnaire, you told us about your love of travel, which you mentioned a little bit earlier as well, but that your love of travel you into an unofficial travel agent for your friends and family, which ultimately led you to decide to get your travel agent license. What has that process been like for you? And has it changed how you write for your travel clients?
Yeah, so I would say it probably has. I started the training last year. I found an agency and did the training through them. And I thought that I knew everything about travel and how people book travel and all of that. And going through that training, I learned so much. So it definitely changes the way that I write for, hotels or anything that somebody is sort of booking. It's sort of shown me the other side of it. And I've learned a lot that I'm very glad that I did the training. I think it definitely will improve my writing.
Well, that's awesome. It sounds like that the travel agent world is something new but fun for you. Are there any insider tricks that you learned in your training that the normal consumer might not know and could help them in their search?
Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely a person that didn't think I needed to work with a travel agent. I knew that it didn't cost any extra, but I was like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to book through someone. I can book it myself. And I learned that there are so many discounts and so many things like booking windows and, different room types and tour types that a travel agent can help you with that I definitely, going forward, if I wasn't doing, the travel agent thing myself, I would definitely be working through a travel agent.
That's awesome, honestly, personally for me to know, because that's always so daunting when you are prepping a trip, especially if you're going to a foreign country or somewhere you've never been before, and you're like, is this place good? So to have someone be able to book it for you and have that kind of background of being like, this is a solid place, this is what you can do while you're there. I feel like that just takes a whole like load of stress off of you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Back to your career a little bit, especially early on. You told us that you had a real estate client early. Can you tell us a little bit about your first real estate client, which you landed fresh out of college, and how that might have influenced your career as a writer?
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty fresh out of college, I booked it was a real estate and property management company out of Thailand. And they had reached out to me on LinkedIn. So it really wasn't something I applied for, but I was very much in that sink or swim part of freelance writing where I wasn't going to turn down a client. So I accepted it thinking, I know about buying houses. I know about renting. I've been in an apartment. I can do this. And they started sending briefs and it was way beyond what I knew anything about. And it was a pretty quick deadline. So I just dove into research. I read everything that I could. I had, YouTube videos going 24/7, and I took crazy amounts of notes and I just poured it into my writing. And it ended up working out great. The client loved it. It ended up being a pretty long-term, thing that I worked with them, and it definitely taught me that it's okay to take on something that you're maybe not an expert in. I didn't know at the time that everyone is doing that. But that if you really put in the time to research and take the time to really write content that you're proud of and that is well backed by research, that you can make it in any industry.
Yeah. Well, finally, I do want a little bit to know, what are your future goals or aspirations as a content writer and strategist?
Yeah, I love what I'm doing. I'd love to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm definitely someone who likes to have multiple clients. I'm not one that wants to find, a full-time position, but I'd love to one day, start my own agency and hire other writers. But for right now, I'm definitely happy doing what I'm doing.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you, Caitlin, so much for joining us today. We'll be back with more interviews with these dynamic writers and industry leaders. To learn more about our amazing content specialists, visit clearvoice.com.